Welcome back to another episode of RNT Fitness Radio, and today I'm joined by Karishma Sharma from Delhi, a high-ranking fitness athlete and marathon runner who also works as an executive in the corporate world. Karishma's got an interesting story to share, and what really strikes me is her ability to balance a demanding career in the corporate world with pushing her body to the limits in two drastically different disciplines, physique building and marathon running. She only started her proper training in her early 30s and has gone on to win multiple titles in the physique competitive arena all over Asia at the highest level. Karishma is a true athlete and is a real professional when it comes to living the lifestyle and being an example to those around her. I hope you enjoy this one.
Are you having a good day?
Yes, Monday is a long day and it's very hectic. I've also injured my back over the weekend. So,
oh, really?
Yeah, I was doing deadlifts. So, and I don't know what happened, but I happened to impact my tailbone. So okay. I just immediately dropped the bar, and then I was literally not moving. But it seems like it's going to take some time.
Oh, have you had a history of back injuries?
I've had it actually in the last 7 years. It's been twice. One was T-bar, second was deadlift, and this is my third one, a minor, not a really big one, but yeah. So it keeps impacting the same point, and I don't do deadlifts the way I used to when I started lifting.
What have you changed?
Reduce the weight, intensity.
Oh, so you've reduced the weight?
Yeah, the intensity. I used to lift quite heavy.
Okay.
But since that injury, the injury that happened around 2011, I think, I just couldn't get back the same way.
Yeah, I've had something
it's
similar.
It's very frustrating.
Yeah.
And
So
that is so sensitive. It's a really sensitive piece. That's the most important thing. And then it affects your squats. It affects everything.
Yeah. How did this one happen? Warm-ups or main set?
No, this was my last exercise and third set. I had another set to go, but I don't know what happened. It usually doesn't happen, but it's just bad luck. I don't know, maybe my form, or maybe I was in a rush so I tried to actually do my workouts in the morning, my cardio and weights together. So maybe I was a bit exhausted and it was Friday and just a bad day.
Yeah,
and I'm so cranky because I can't live the way I live, right? I can't run the way I run. So I'm really not my best version. So yeah.
What are some of your best lifts?
Well, best lifts in terms of weight?
Yeah.
My favorites are deadlifts and squats, and I've gone up to about 80 pounds of deadlifts. I've got up to about 75, 80 to squat when I used to seriously lift.
So 80 kilos or?
80 pounds.
Okay.
80, 90. 90 I've gone. So yeah, they've always been my favorites, deads and squats. But I don't do heavy squats because I also change a lot of my training depending on my competition.
Yeah.
So earlier it was all about, just build more strength. But it's now, over the years, it's about symmetry because my category always demanded that. So I had to make sure, and I'm very quad-centric. So I don't, I don't want to lift too heavy.
Yeah. So you don't go too heavy. You just go so when you're doing a squats, you might put 90 pounds on the bar and just do reps at constant tension.
But I don't do 90 pounds anymore. I'd actually go very light. I probably would go about 50 or max 60 pounds. I would not go more than that.
Okay.
And I go more reps, 15 reps or 12, 15, but I would not do 8 reps now. I might just do that for lunges, but not for squats. Has always been a complete no-no from my coach as well. Whatever coach, whoever I had, they were don't do too much squats because bikini doesn't need that. It's because your quads are heavier than your upper. So we need to balance that. But yeah.
Yeah, that's how long have you been training for then?
It's been 14 years since I've been in fitness, but the initial 3-4 years been only running, hardcore running and long distance marathons and and all that. And then I slowly started lifting in 2000, maybe 8, 9, like, body pump classes in London. I was there for 2 years. And then I moved to more like heavy lifting when I came back. So it's been quite some time now. Yeah. 10 years lifting. So yeah.
So you got a lot of experience now. Yeah.
Yeah, I am. And I've never had anybody standing on my head. I mean, I initially had a trainer who was prepping me for a show, but that was here in Delhi. But I never had somebody. I actually used to read a lot and watch a lot of YouTubes. And that's how I picked up. I mean, I still do that because I quite enjoy it, right? And I felt like I don't need one. I never need somebody to push me. Rather, I find that quite waste of time because you start having a lot of conversations which I don't like while training.
So what was your sort of driver into getting into training? What got you into training hard, which we'll come on to later, because you don't just exercise, you don't just dip into it, you really go for it. So before we go into everything you've done, what was like the main driver for you into getting into fitness?
Well, we all have some turning points in our life. I think, I've had mine as well 14 years back, maybe. I've had my emotional setbacks and I just wanted something to kind of get off my mind off that. And I think somewhere deep down, I always used to really advocate like good health and good eating. But the kind of culture I came from, my parents never encouraged me to really learn a sport. But when I was 25 and I knew that I could take my decisions, I decided to just go to the gym. And I started doing running on the treadmill and lifting light weights. And I don't know, it's something sometimes I wonder, how did I really get into it? Because as a kid, I was not sporty. I hated my PT class. Till 25, I didn't even go for walks. But it's just that whole, the feeling when it kind of, you finish your workout, this whole happy feeling and this. So, yeah, I've had thyroid as well. So that was one of the reasons as well I wanted to kind of get into fitness or exercise, like just normal movements, very basic stuff, because I was advised that it's good to kind of do that. And my energy levels were not that great when I was about 24, 25. But after doing for a few months, I just realized that I feel better. Not that I really drastically lost weight, but because my diet was okay at that point. And then, overall, the well-being and the difference that I saw, it kind of just pushed me to try new things. And I totally enjoyed taking up the new challenge. I thought I could never run. So when I did my 5K, I was super happy. Wow, I could actually do 5K. And I started doing 10K. I joined a small group here in Delhi where people used to just meet on Sunday and run. So I used to go there, run, and just, feel really good about this whole running thing. And I also realized that I have the potential to do some good long distance. While I was running, I was noticed by a lot of senior runners that my strides are good, my form is really good. I never had any issues with running in terms of my backaches or my knees. And I just started to do more and more of that. And then there was no ending. And then it was like, okay, 10K to 15, 15 to 22, and then 22 to 42 in very short span of time. So it's always been just, if I can do this, why not that? But there's never been stopping. And I guess it's a lot to do with the trait I have as a person. Even when I was a kid, I was always pushing in my academics. I was a topper in my school. I just wanted to make sure that I'm not just an average person. Now, when I got something new in my life, I just wanted to make sure I'd give my best to it. And that's kind of very innate nature. I just can't change that. And I think this was the best thing I did. And there was just no stopping because I just totally enjoyed it. And I could see that I can actually mentally push myself a lot more in this space.
Was there a specific moment or flip that you had that drove you into it? If you weren't a sporty kid, there's usually always a moment in someone's life that drives them towards fitness. And especially from what you just said now, where you didn't just dip your toes in it, you really immerse yourself into the whole game, essentially. Is there more you can share on that?
I think there's been more because I realized there are, a lot of areas in your life that you cannot control. Like I said, I mentioned that there was like an emotional setback and a lot of turmoil and trauma that I had to go through when I was younger, like about 25, I was undergoing a divorce. I mean, I had my divorce at 25, but I think that area I could not control. But I realized that health is the area which I can really control. I can't control relationships, because it involves two people and partnerships. But I think this is the area which was totally in my hands. And I could clearly see that if I actually put the discipline to it and, a certain structure to it, I'll just get where I want to be. And the sky is the limit. Like, it's not like I have to run 42. Tomorrow I can do a trail run, or I can do mountain climbing, or I can do bodybuilding. So that's all I kept doing that. I made sure that I try to be more versatile in the space. And I still don't remember that there was like one point, but I definitely remember the first half marathon that I did. And I was among the top 10 finishers here among women. That was probably my turning point that, hey, you know what? I couldn't believe I ran like 21 kilometers. And that was in January. And it's really cold in another city. And that's it. That high, that feeling that I could do this. And I was like, okay, I'm going to just do this now. And there's no way I'm giving up. So I guess the recognition and the reward that came with it, along with this whole feeling that I have, control over this, was quite encouraging.
Which city did you run all these half marathons and small runs in?
So I'm from India, and I have been running mostly in Delhi, but I've also run in a few marathons in Mumbai and Chandigarh. So because most of them are like organized in metropolitan cities, and they're pretty much the big ones.
How do they organize that in through all the traffic? Do they shut the place down? Or?
Yeah, they do. They do actually. I think people are fairly supportive. One, the good thing is they always do it on a Sunday, so it's fairly okay to control the traffic. And all these start really early, like 4 a.m. and 5 a.m. So it's not too bad. I've never had that like concern.
Yeah. So you're from India. Do you want to give the listeners a bit more background about who you are and a bit more of your background?
Sure. So I'm based out of Delhi. I've been born, brought up here. I'm 38, so I've spent nearly half my life now. Actually, probably a little less than half, because I'm expecting to live a little longer, being healthy. I come from a very traditional family. My parents are again born, based here. I live with my parents. Very Punjabi culture. I'm not sure whether you're very familiar with Punjabi culture, but very traditional upbringing, traditional setup, a huge joint family I live with. Pretty much I won't say like a professional background of my family, very hardcore business background, very conservative culture. However, my parents have been pretty open to the idea of, women working and going out, stepping out the house. So I'm glad that they are like that. And as a profession, I am in marketing and communications. I have been in this industry for 14 years. So it's like as much time I've spent in fitness, I've spent in my profession as well. However, fitness lies close to my heart and always will be. So whenever somebody says, tell me about yourself, I don't know which part should I introduce first. Is it like the fitness part of my profession? But yeah, I mean, what defines me more would be fitness. Like within my circle, if somebody wants to say something about Karishma, they'll always kick off with, oh, she's a health freak, or she's a fitness enthusiast, or she's an athlete. So yes, I professionally, I'm pretty happy and content with what I do. But I think what gets me going in life, or what I really look forward to during my day or when I wake up is my workout. Like I look forward to that. It's not like I'm waking up to my job. I wake up to fitness. I wake up to my healthy meals. I'm very, very organized about my food habits as well. I'm very, very disciplined and structured. Apart from all this, I also do some short workshops on nutrition as a motivational speaker. I'm also consulting a health app. They're trying to build a health app in the space of fitness and engagement for corporates. So I'm on board consulting them on a project basis. So I try to kind of, keep myself busy with a lot of fitness projects. I'm studying nutrition as well. And it's really exciting, I must say. I finally decided to take up a course, which is more like explaining the science behind food and digestion. And that's really exciting because I've done a lot of self-study in the past 14 years. So having the structure and taking exams, and I think that's something I've been wanting to do for a while. So I'm pretty glad I took it up. That's pretty much my background.
Amazing. So when I looked into your fitness journey, what really struck me was you've not only you've competed in running at a high level, but I found, because I'm from a bodybuilding background, I found what was particularly impressive is how you shifted from running to competing at a high level in bodybuilding, physique, bikini. How did you make that transition? Because that's not a typical move for not only an athlete, but also as a woman. That's a big shift.
Yeah, and like I said in the beginning, there's been so many things that have always just kind of showed up. And I think it's a lot to do with what you want to manifest in your life. And I think somewhere I feel like I'm always, giving the message to the universe that I want to be part of the fitness world, whether it's, a lot to do with bodybuilding or it's cardio. And I think there was just one point when I was just looking at these bikini champions of Olympia and all of that. And one of my trainers, he used to tell me, like, why don't you just think about competing? And I was like, you know what? I don't think I can ever consider myself stepping on the stage wearing a bikini, but I'm looking at their body like, oh my God, I can't look like that. It's so symmetrical. Like they're dolls. So, and he's like, just work hard on it and you will be able to do that. So what I did was like, it just happened. There was a competition happening in Mumbai as Gold's Fitness Championship from Gold Gyms. And I just participated in that show, worked pretty hard in, like 3 months. I had only 3 months. And I won the title for Best Fit Body. And that was the point where I started to feel like I can actually do this. I mean, it might take me a little longer because I haven't, done this professionally, or in the past I haven't been lifting, and I'm more like a cardio person. But with little more detailing and, lifting, I might be able to at least get to the stage. And then I started lifting. I just bumped into a coach from US, and she, that was just online interaction. Like, I'm interacting with you, and she was based out of US, and she said, hey, she's having a show in Philippines in 3 months. How about competing? And I said, oh, wow, that sounds good. But I don't think I can because I've never done a bikini competition. And also I was down with some serious sinus. So I had a surgery due, and I thought, I can't make it. But so what I did, I told my doctor that I decided to compete. So we will not do the surgery because surgery would mean that I have to skip the show. So, and I just will fight through this. And I did that. I prepared, she prepared me. And I went to Philippines, competed, and I won bronze in that show. And that was my first show as a bikini competitor from India, first time representing my country as well. And that's it. It just happened. And then I was like, if I can do this once, I think I can do better than, in my next show, then another show, and then another show. And then it was few shows.
How many have you done?
I must have done about 8 to 9 shows.
Oh, and what was the highest ranked show you did?
Arnold Classic, Hong Kong.
Wow. Yeah, and that.
Yeah, but that was tough. Yeah. I was in top 10. I couldn't make it in the top 3. That was very competitive because it was in Hong Kong with, those women. The symmetry is very, very different. The judging criteria is different. Also, over the years, I realized that the judging is very different in each country. Judges look at different things. So this sport is pretty exciting. It looks really exciting, like all these women looking great, but it's very competitive. Genetic plays a big role, I think. I mean, I can now, see the difference. And it's not like endurance. It's not like, you just push yourself, more glycogen or more glucose and you just run. It's very detailed. So you just have to be very careful with your diet and things.
For me, bodybuilding's never been about getting on the stage and actually, seeing how you do against others. It's more about that journey that leads you toward it, because you have to really go take yourself to dark places in order to get into very, very good condition. What mindset tricks do you use to really push yourself in that condition when it comes to dieting for a show?
Well, interestingly, I've never had very huge or issues, or like I've never battled with all this mindset things. Like I've always been like, if I've set a goal, I would just be very focused throughout. So there is no distraction, and even if there are, I would not really like focus my energy on them. I follow a plan. Obviously, I've listened to my coach. I'm not done bigger shows without a coach. I've always had somebody supervising me, and I will stick to the plan, to the details, to the diet, to the workouts. Rather, I might just go a little extra sometimes, to make sure that the conditioning is better. And that's how I do it. I mean, the mindset is pretty clear. Like, now you've decided, even if you're dying and you're like fainting and you're crying, you just have to do it. We all have, little, we get jittery and we get cranky because we are on low carb diets. But then that is never going to be an obstacle. I always knew that I'll get through that.
Yeah, so that's exactly it. That is the mindset there. You kind of essentially go into like a autopilot robot mode. And execute whatever.
Yeah. And I think it's a lot to do with conditioning over years. So it's not this space that I'm like this. I feel this is a trait if people have in them, or they've kind of conditioned and learned to master that, they're going to be, displaying that in other areas of life as well. And I'm pretty much like that as a person in my, my workplace, with my interpersonal, skills or relationships. And it's the same. Like, if I know this is how I want to do it, or this is what needs to be done, so then nothing really distracts me. I'm going to be pretty much focused. So then the whole waking up at 5 a.m. is not an issue when I have to go to work, because I know 5 a.m. means I need to get my workout done and then go to work.
Has the physical preparation for your running, your shows, caused you to be like that in other areas of your life? Or have you always been very regimented in everything you do?
Well, my mom says I've been quite a disciplined kid. So I would say, and I'm a firm believer that some of your, strong suits and your personality traits are developed when you're very young. And the good ones especially. So, if they're developed, then you kind of carry them forward. So like I said, like as a kid, I was always very disciplined. Like, I used to sleep on time, wake up, homework, academics have to be like really like good, like do your best to it. So it's never been, disciplining myself has never been an issue. And even my parents never battled. But I have to say that fitness has obviously contributed to it, because there's so much detailing that goes into this whole competing and the cardios and things like that. It has helped me, polished me probably further. And that's why whenever there are new projects and I know that I have to do 5 things, I don't struggle so much, because I know that they can be done if you're a little pragmatic about it.
How do you balance the prepping of shows and running with your corporate job?
Good question. It's quite a struggle. Like I said, I try to stick to a routine, and no matter whatever happens, and people might just call me really boring because I don't change that for anybody. I just stick to my plan. I know that if I don't get up at 5 a.m., I'll never get my couple of hours of workout. So I make sure I stick to that. I sleep in time. I prep my meals a day before. So I don't eat at work. I take about 4 to 5 meals with me. 1 meal at the gym, and then the rest, like I carry. So I basically carry a whole portable small mini bag where I have my meals, and I take it to work, and nothing changes. Like, there will be no day that I've forgotten my bag, or, I'm not taking my meal. So just having a little more structure and planning has helped me. When I travel for work, which is not a lot, fortunately, I just... I freeze my food and I carry it on the flight. I eat the same food for the next 2 days, and even if it's frozen, I'll eat it.
So freeze your food on the plane?
No, I'm saying I freeze it here, like so that I can carry it. Because the weather conditions are not that favorable. You can't carry meat, a lot of meat, when it's really hot here. Yeah. So I try to freeze it, and then I carry those packets in my bag. And I will eat it the day I probably reach, for example, Dubai or wherever I go. So yeah, I just make sure, like, this somehow, the whole competing has helped me plan these things more effectively.
Yeah, so it's always one of the toughest things for people to balance. And one thing I've got to ask is, when you were getting into that nitty gritty of a competition prep, how did you find being at work? And are you someone who gets affected by your mood, or are you someone level-headed?
Yeah, totally. So it's not all nice, and it looks really great when I'm on stage, but there's a lot of work that goes, including your hormonal imbalance, I think, and your moods get affected. When I first started doing my planning for the first show in Philippines, and I looked at the diet, it was just driving me crazy, because I could not believe that I have to measure literally 1/3 of beans, half pepper. And I was like, are you crazy? Why would we even measure half pepper? Why can't I have the entire pepper? So it was really funny. I told my coach, why should I even measure, vegetables? Or why do we need to have 6 different sources of proteins? Why can't I just have chicken? And then, they say you just have to listen to your coach, and you can't argue, especially when it's your first show. And when I saw the result, they were alarming. I could not believe, I could look like that in 6 months. It was just amazing the way the body shaped up, the symmetry came in. And I could, people walked up and they say, oh, your symmetry is so different from the other girls in the gym. And I'm like, yeah, I could not imagine, as that kind of a shape. But yeah, that's what food does. The detailing, the workouts, it was very painful. And I have to say my mom was so supportive, because she had to obviously play a role here to help me do all of that. But she couldn't believe that I'm eating, I'm measuring everything. And since then, it was 2012. Till now, I measure my food every day, and that hasn't changed. If it's 3 egg whites, it's 3. It's 150 grams of protein, or chicken, it has to be that. So it never goes plus minus.
So you're having 6 different sources of protein?
No, that was in the beginning when I first started taking this whole coaching from the US. She used to give me about 3 to 4 variety, very different, shrimps, and one was fish, one was tuna fish. So there was 2. It was impossible to even source them here. But yeah, that time I was like, okay, whatever you say. But then I guess over the years, once I understood the basics and the macros, then I was a little more flexible myself. And I was like, you know what, it's okay. If I don't get it, I can eat chicken. So today I can decide for myself what's best. But when you're very new to the sport, you just have to follow the coach. But yeah, the results were great. So I didn't have complaint either. It's just a little challenging.
I think that's great advice there. Now, when you're new to this journey, you just got to execute and just follow. And then as you get more and more into it, that's when you can start being more experimental, more flexible as your education develops.
Yes. And also you learn your body. So maybe in the beginning, I could not figure out what's suiting me, because I was so new to the sport. Now, I know that, if I eat chicken at night, I don't feel that good. But when I eat fish, I feel better. My digestion is better, when it comes to fish and eggs as well. But some people can digest chicken very well. So it's very different for each of us. You just have to learn what, carb suits you, and whatever the sources you prefer. I'm not very good with breads. Sweet potato is best. I don't like oats so much, and I can see even it doesn't feel good when I have them. So I just have to learn as well. So I've learned that over the years. So even now, when a new coach, I'm thinking to consider, if he says, you have this and have that, I tell the coach, you got to also understand the history and what I think works best for me. I'm not the person who can have a big carb meal and go to the gym. A very small portion of carb meal or protein, and I'm happy, and I can really train very well. I don't need a lot of carbs before training. So it's very individual. It really depends on person to person.
But that's very much an education process that you put yourself through, as opposed to just stumbling across it. It's you paying attention to your body, how you respond, and then taking action accordingly.
Right.
Yeah. Well, one thing I'm fascinated by is when you were dieting down. I'm not sure how big the sport is over there, but did you get a lot of social pressure, or people wondering what the hell you were doing?
Yeah. Yeah, all the time. I still get that. So the part of city I live is quite Punjabi. When I say Punjabi, very conservative, very traditional men here, mostly couples, not a lot of single women you would see. And the culture in the gym in India is also very different. Like it's kind of evolved. Women come and work out, but you would not see like pros coming, like pro women lifting weights and really hardcore women like me. So I used to always have those, get those stares like, oh my God, what is she doing? Like, why does she want to look like a man? Like, you used to hear these comments like, why are you training like a man? Why do you have to have so much muscle? Or maybe there are some who are so intimidated by you that they will not even talk to you, or they will start talking behind your back. So I've had like some serious battles in the gym, like really some serious battles, but I had also learned to choose my battles. So initially I used to be very irritated with the whole, thing, and like, why are they behaving like that? Complaining the manager, like these guys are always like bullying me and I don't like it. But then, you just realize that they'll never understand it. So you just have to invest your energy in your workouts and ignore them. So there has been a lot of pressure, and I still, like, where I go, I face a lot of, I won't say that they don't like me, but I guess they just don't get along well with me. It's because I don't have the time to have, socialize in the gym, and they find me too serious, too intense, but that is what the sport demands. I don't have the time and the bandwidth to socialize. And
are you talking about in the gym? Not
yeah.
Okay.
No, in the gym. Yeah. And also because there are not many women doing what I'm doing. So I'll probably be the 5%, right, of the women who are in Delhi doing this. So it's very rare. I can't blame them. And they don't see that a lot of women are doing that around them, even in their families or in their friend circle. I mean, outside gym, I would not say that I've not had issues, but I guess at least people are more appreciative of what I've been doing at work or even in my, friends and family. But yes, you do get your share outside as well, where people feel like you're really not living your life, because this is not living. You're not eating what you should be eating, and you're not enjoying life. You're not getting out, you're not getting drunk, and you're not eating butter and whatever, cheese. So I guess it's there, and it's very deep rooted in our culture. Like, food is a big thing, and if you don't eat, your traditional food, you literally they perceive that you're not really enjoying life.
And what do you say to them?
I don't care. To be honest, I've reached a state I don't care at all. So I think initially I had this whole thing about, hey guys, you don't know what you eat is so important. It shows up and blah, blah, blah. But I think I realized that, like I just said, you have to conserve your energy. When you're competing, you can't do this. So it's best to cut off, go to bed, do your thing and forget it. And just don't get into arguments. And I knew that they will eventually understand. So when I was first featured, when I did my first show, I was featured in the Women's Health magazine in India as the first bikini athlete who represented Indian Federation in Philippines. And when that article was out, this was published, obviously, and I shared with my folks, then they were like, oh my God, like now this is a big thing. I'm like, so, I don't have to say anything. And today, when I walk into my office or even with my family, now everybody's like, oh my God, we can never do what she's been doing. Now and they don't really kind of, say, please eat or don't eat, or they don't have any views against all this. But they're like, okay, if you want to eat, great. If you don't want to eat, that's fine as well. But initially, there were a lot of like mixed views, or some supportive, some not supportive. But I think they've got used to it, and I've stopped caring. So
yeah, that's a big one. You obviously take care of your body. You're very focused on the physical. Are you? Do you practice any mindfulness or anything for your mind?
Yes, I do. Actually, I'm a big fan of Tony Robbins, and a lot of motivational videos and stuff. I spend about 45 minutes, 34 to 45 minutes every day listening to either Tony Robbins, Les Brown, Oprah, or like some kind of strategy on how to build strength, focus, communicate to yourself, and how effectively you should communicate, and things like so other areas. It has helped me a lot. These are some small things that I kind of take to just make sure that I'm in the same mind space.
What do you do for application then? Do you consume a lot of information regards to it? How do you apply a lot of the motivational speeches and motivational topics that you listen to?
Actually, I've never had struggled with pushing myself in the gym as such. I've never had that issue like, do I really want to go to the gym or not? That's never been the question for me. For me, it's more about how to not let other things in your life or other spheres interfere in your workouts, whether, how much mind space are you giving to them? So these motivational videos of the strategy by Tony Robbins, who really focuses on the communication piece, on how to get over fears in life, especially. I think that piece has somewhere helped me always to deal with the coming up competition, like the fear of losing a competition or not being placed in top 3, or the fear of being rejected and things like that. So I think the emotional aspect and then involvement has tremendously been affected by stuff like Tony Robbins or his strategy. So I make sure that in my daily in my work or in my fitness areas, I am applying those kind of rules and also building core values, because if you notice, most of these videos and this type of content really focuses on building strong core values. And I think as an athlete, that's extremely important, because everything stems out from the core values that you build, the foundation you have. And if you don't have that strong, then you're going to fall anyhow. So you have to make sure that's kind of, whether it's integrity, whether it's your commitment. So if that's in place, then taking up a new challenge is never an issue.
What are some of your core values?
Actually, I would say integrity is one of my favorite. And that's because I think everything in my life is very connected to that. And even if there is something that kind of distracts me from my goal, this core value helps me reconnect to that. So something like, a competition coming up and you know that you need to be focused, but there are little distractions, a wedding coming up or a birthday party, and you just know that, you're so on that verge where you're so tempted to break your diet, but because you know that you have committed yourself to a certain goal, you're very connected to the path you have taken up. So that's one of my favorites. And it has helped me tremendously to discipline myself, stick to my word. And even if nobody's watching, I'm going to do what I've committed myself to do it.
Yeah. As a woman, what would you say is the biggest struggle you face when it comes to pushing yourself to the extreme in the realm of body composition?
Well, I think the biggest struggle as a woman bodybuilding is that we're not, blessed with a lot of muscles, and building muscles, especially naturally through food, through diet, it is quite a journey. And the whole, bodybuilding sport is very, very competitive. So there is always a pressure that you have to have a certain amount of muscles, and that it takes time. It doesn't happen in, a short span of time. That is one pressure. The second pressure is, I guess, even we don't work a lot on ourselves, we are always caring about how others view us and their judgment. So you're constantly thinking, okay, if I'm looking in a certain way, how others are going to perceive me, whether it's wearing a bikini. And it's a big thing. It's a big deal here. Like in the sport, like first time when I had to wear a bikini, it was a big deal in my family. Everybody was like, oh my God, why did you wear the bikini? Why did you even have to post a picture of even if you did? So for me, it's a sport. For others, it's become something else. It's a platform to probably show, display your body. And it's just something which people do not, value. It's not a serious sport. So they judge you for that. And that's kind of initially used to hit me a lot, but, I used to be a little desolate about it, and I'm like not happy. But then I'm like, okay, what? It's not how I view it. So that pressure is there in this sport.
You're talking about muscle building and struggles you faced. What tips would you give to women who are listening that in order to build the most muscle that they can? Obviously, we know the myth of, you're not going to get I'm not going to get too bulky. That we know is a myth.
Yeah.
But in order to get toned, in order to build shape, you need muscle. What tips would you give to women whose goals have now shifted towards that, which many of our listeners actually have? So,
I've always been a fan of a fine balance between endurance and strength. And that's what you'll see like in my profile. Like I've done a lot of cardio and I still do that. It's not that I've given up on running. I still run for an hour in the morning. It might be interval or things like that. But I make sure there is a good balance between the two. And women who are actually looking to, gain muscles, one, like you said, they should not be scared of lifting. So, I mean, it's not going to kind of make them bulky. It rather will boost their metabolism. And they have to be very mindful of the fact that cardio alone will not do that. What they really need to do is to maintain that balance. Apart from a good plan, I think especially beginners, I never recommend them to go on intranet, follow a diet. It's good to have somebody who's an expert. I feel like that really benefited me in the beginning. Eventually you can take up your own whatever plan and design your own plan. But in the beginning, I would not suggest they should play too much with the diet, because you don't know your body fat levels, you don't know your metabolic rate. So a good plan can really help them stay focused and be on track. And apart from that, I guess everybody should try to learn their own body. And I think that's what I said in the beginning. It's very important that you understand, because your coach will definitely have, a lot of knowledge and expertise in the space, but you know best what suits you, how well your digestion is, and whether you're good with caffeine or whether you're good with bread. So it's something you just have to learn. So good food journal. I used to do that because I also have food allergies. So I have to make sure that I keep a track of that. And over the years, it kind of have diminished. I know by cutting this food out, I don't have a lot of that allergy. So it's good to kind of keep a record of that.
Yeah, that's really good advice. And that can help build your self-awareness to then know what works for you and what doesn't work. Have you ever, when you in muscle building phases, have you ever let yourself, I call it getting fluffy, but let your body weight come up a little bit just so you can get stronger and ultimately come out the next time with a more muscular physique? Or have you always stayed on the leaner side of things to build muscle?
Well, everybody says that it seems like I'm always prepping. so like my social media or my people, they say, we never see you bulking. So I'll be honest, I don't believe in bulking too much. And neither I really follow a diet, which would be like bulking out, being fluffy. But the last show that I did in August, my coach was from Australia. There was a plan. I mean, his plan initially had more carbs, and eventually he had cut it out. So I could not really understand why so much carbs, because I never have eaten so much calories and more than 2,000. And I did gain a bit of a weight, like a couple of kilos. And I was going a bit crazy with that because I was not used to it. But I must say, by the time I had hit the show, my weight was down. I looked really lean. Probably that was one of my leanest show. So I do follow that. If I am competing, I'll stick to the plan, like I said. But on a day-to-day basis, I will try to kind of play around a little bit with my calories. For example, I went for a mountain climbing course in April. And that course, I had to do a lot of trekking and climbing. I couldn't do with just protein. Right? I had to eat carbs. So I had carbs, bars and things like that while I was climbing. And at that time, I didn't really care about my weight. But I knew when I come back, I'm going to be back to my weights and back to my, cardios, and I'll bring that down. So that happened. And so when it's about performance, then I don't think so much. But yes, when it's competing, I'm mindful. But on a daily basis, I don't believe too much in bulking. I think it's good to have little cheat like once in a week and, little up and in terms of the calories, but I don't go crazy. I don't go really overboard.
Sensible flexibility.
Yeah, I mean, flexibility which is reasonable. It's not like I'm killing myself.
Yeah, so just sensible eating year round, and then when you need to push on it, you essentially rein everything in and apply the blinders towards a show or a competition or whatever it is you're doing.
And also we have to keep in mind one fact that women who are doing this bulking, they're gaining fat, and they're aware of that. They're gaining fat as well. But then they're really taking some probably serious stuff to bring the weight down, like steroids and all. So if you have that as the savior, then you might just do that. But I don't like to do that. That's why I try to just keep my diet a bit more controlled, so that, because I have a job to keep, and you don't want to go to work looking like suddenly bulky and suddenly whatever. It's not. And I'm in a position where people, you just know that she's in holding a certain position. She has a certain reputation at work, and I don't want to be like that. So I like to have a little corporate image intact and also do my own stuff in the fitness space.
I think that's what most people want. They don't want to be bulking aggressively. Not women anyway. What continues to drive you?
I think that one of the biggest reason is myself. I'm the biggest motivation, because I never want to be, never want to be just ordinary. I want to do extraordinary things, and I never want the circumstances to cripple me down and resort to this average, ways of life. And I think that whole thing in my mind it just lets me move forward, and I keep pushing myself. So even if it is something very small, like it would be, increasing my weight intensity in my weight training or cardio, I will never say myself, okay, you know what, I've been doing pretty good, now I'm done and I'm happy and I can just go back to my normal junk food or junk life. Because for me, it's very important to keep progressing. And it's okay to ease down, get off the pedal, slow down, do your own thing, but progress is important. And I don't want to be just an average person. For me, it has to be what's next. So I think the whole thing about a challenge kind of really excites me. That's why after a point, like I want to compete, or after a point, I want to do something more fun. Like I just did a course in climbing, which was extremely tough. It was an 8-day course, and I've never done any trekking. I've never done bouldering. But I just went for it. For me, it's all about the experience and something that really kind of tests my capabilities. And that was a real test as well. So I think over the years, it's become like a part of my personality. I just want to keep pushing myself.
Yeah. I mean, what's the next challenge you've got ahead?
Actually, I've been in a dilemma whether I should compete this year or not. But maybe I might not do that. And I'm also very adventurous as a person. I've done skydiving and scuba diving and river raftings and things like that. So I want to learn something like skydiving. So I'm planning to do that this year. So it will take obviously about 8 to 10 days. So my holidays are typically around adventure or around fitness. So I have to choose what I really want to do. But yes, I will compete at some point. If not this year, maybe next year, but I will. But I might just do that in the master class, because I'm now getting old. so I'm thinking maybe it's a good idea to compete in 38, whatever, 40, or because there are a lot of young girls, and we know that after a point, even if you're really good with your diet, it's really hard to compete with somebody who's like about 15 years younger than you, because obviously, it all matters. The age does make a big difference to your skin tone, your metabolism. And I have hypothyroid, so I kind of struggle now on that as well. So I have to work harder to keep my, my fat intake of overall fat low and my calories low as well.
Yeah. Have you noticed a difference over the last 5-10 years in how your training's evolved? Do you need more recovery, or is it more just at the highest level you might see a difference?
I've seen the difference in terms of the energy strength, I would say. I think that's primarily because of the fact that my routine has changed a lot. I was in a job which was slightly more flexible in the sense that I could start a bit late. I was working for UK and US. So I had more time to train, recover, and, start my day. But now I start very early, less time, less recovery, a lot of driving. So that is the change that has happened. So maybe if I'm put back to the same environment, I might just perform the same. But overall, do see that it's not like I can stretch myself for like 3.5-4 hour workout now. I used to actually stretch myself to 3.5 hours. I mean, I do that on a Saturday if you ask me. I still spend about 3 hours in the gym on a Saturday. I don't come home. So I think that's because my endurance is very good, and I've ran marathons for 4 hours, right? So and a body kind of learns that. So I'm pretty good in stretching myself, but yes, over the years, I think the recovery takes longer. Also, my reliance on supplements have gone down. Like, I don't take too many supplements. I used to take a lot more when I started bodybuilding, BCCA, glutamine, and protein shakes thrice a day and all of that. So I've really cut down because I have also kind of changed my approach towards health. Like, I want to really focus on more organic or more real protein and less processed and things like that. So I'm very careful with all of that. I guess it's a lot to do with because now I'm studying nutrition. So I just want to make sure that I don't rely too much on artificial stuff.
Amazing. Sounds great. Let's finish up on a rapid fire round.
Sure.
First one, what's one quote you live by?
One quote that I live by: get out of your comfort zone. I totally live by that.
Great. What is one country you'd love to visit?
Okay, then maybe on my list, it's Bali that I want to go.
Oh, very nice. That's not too far from you though, is it?
No. Yeah, it's on my list this year. That's why I just said that.
Who should we have on the podcast next?
Okay. So there is this mountain climber that I had who has taken the course that I've taken, and he's a professional climber. Maybe he could be the next one on the podcast.
Amazing. That'd be great too. Is he a professional? Or?
Yeah, he's a professional. He's really good. He's from India and he lives in Manali.
Where does he do the free climbing?
Yeah, he does the free climb.
Oh wow, that's fear. That's embracing fear at its best.
Oh, totally. So watching him is quite a delight, though.
Yeah. Where can people find you if they want to find out more?
Facebook and Insta.
Have you got any handles? We can post them in case anyone's listening and they want to jump straight on.
Karishma Fitness _ is my Insta handle, and Karishma Fitness is my Facebook handle.
If you enjoyed today's episode with Karishma, please share it with your family and friends. For more information, please visit www.rntfitness.com, and you can follow us on Instagram at RNT_fitness. Thanks for listening.